Just let your soul glow.
Welcome to the Soul Shift Sessions podcast, where we dive deep into transformative conversations that empower you to elevate your mindset, break through limitations, and create the life you truly desire.
Hosted by Coach Sapphire Star and Coach Kyle McLeod, this podcast is your go-to source for actionable insights, inspiring stories, and expert advice on personal growth, financial freedom, and living with purpose.
Each episode is designed to help you shift your mindset, overcome obstacles, and embrace a life of abundance and fulfillment. Whether you're looking to transform your relationship with money, enhance your well-being, or unlock your full potential, the Soul Shift Sessions will guide you on your journey.
Amanda Wais is an award-winning author, blogger, and founder of the Cheeky Scribe, a publishing company helping writers share authentic, impactful stories. After a frustrating first publishing experience, she launched her own company and is now working on her 5th book. Inspired by her son with Down syndrome, Amanda writes a heartfelt blog, Downs by the Bay, and hosts a fresh air-inspired life podcast. Celebrating purpose-driven people, her mission is to elevate human consciousness through powerful storytelling.
Welcome to another episode of Soul Shift Sessions podcast, where we have deep, transformative conversations to help you transform your mind, to transform your life. I am your favorite freedom and financial life coach, Coach Sapphire Star. And of course, I have with me today my favorite co-host, Coach
Kyle McLeod.
And we are super excited to bring you our special guest who's making a return on the podcast. We're super excited that she's going to be on the show today. And our conversation is we're going to be talking about the power of storytelling with Amanda. Before we get into the conversation, remember to go check us out at www.soulshiftsessions.com and join the tribe. You can also follow us on Soul Shift Sessions on Instagram. Welcome, Amanda.
Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me, Kyle and Sapphire.
Well,
And happy belated birthday.
Aw, thank you.
happy
Thank you.
birthday.
Aw, guys.
We're singing
Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday.
birthday.
to ya.
Happy
birthday.
Oh,
Now,
you guys
I'm
are
going to tell
great.
you what right now, if my sister were here, she would say, okay, break it down now. There would be the
remix.
happy birthday. It's like she goes through the whole thing. Okay?
Wow.
She's not playing, right? Not playing.
Ooh,
Everyone has to participate.
ooh. I want to meet your sister.
Oh, you'll love her. You'll love her.
Oh, yeah.
So she is a fan and a subscriber to the podcast. So
Awesome.
she'll see this.
Shout out to your sister.
Shout out to
Yeah.
Kelly McLeod Blaine.
Ooh, Kelly. Yeah.
Yes.
So this is our second go round. The audience will not get a chance to glean from our first meeting. Maybe they'll get some stuff from this second one. Maybe it'll even be better than the first one. But I will say this:
Maybe.
I'm glad that this is my second go round with you, because it's like having a whole nother session all over again. So Sapphire and I benefited the first go round. We'll let the public benefit this go round.
I benefited the first go round too.
Good.
It was fun.
So we all benefited.
Yeah.
They didn't, but we did.
We did. Amanda, again, we're so happy to have you here with us today. Tell us a little bit more about yourself. Kyle shared the bio, but can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah. So After college, I moved to the Keweenaw Peninsula, which is right in the middle of Lake Superior. And it was a town called Copper Harbor. I was there for almost 20 years. Copper Harbor is a town of 100 year-round residents. And then during the summertime, it's a whole bunch of tourists come and to help the town stay alive. Otherwise, we can't support ourselves with 100 people. So it just was such a unique experience to have 20 years of my life there. And that was also where my son was born and raised. And now we just moved 36 miles south to an actual school with an actual hospital and all those things because he needs some more resources. Yeah, I don't know. I just love life, and my mission in the world is to help raise the consciousness of humanity to its highest potential. So that just bleeds through everything I do.
I love that. You're an award-winning author. And what inspired you to write your first book, and how has that shaped your experience as an author?
Yeah, so my first book was stories gathered from Copper Harbor, where I lived, and I just could never stop writing. Even since I was little, I always had this urge, whether it was poetry or stories or anything. So I gathered enough stories, and what I did was I took each season and broke it down and made characters from the land, from the thimbleberry bushes, the black bear, the tourists that would come, the fish in the water, the bell buoy, that ding, ding, ding in the harbor. Those are all things that are close to the hearts of the people who live there and work there and visit there. And so I made them each talk. I gave them all a voice, and I let them talk about what it's like during the season that they fell in. And so it was really fun for me. To me, that's a really classic, timeless classic kind of book. And yeah, then you get to the point where you write it, and now what do you do with it? I'm like, I want to make this a book. So I did some research and found a self-publishing company and went through all that rigmarole. The book is out, looking back is what makes me realize that I want to help other authors write their book, because there's so many unknowns and there's so many ways that people take advantage of authors who don't know things, and they're just like desperate, like, I have this great story and I want to get it out. How do I do it? And so anyway, that became the evolution of me creating my own publishing company and publishing my own books from then on. But that was my first one. The first one was, lighthearted, and I call it like a coffee table book or a bathroom, put it next to the John, and, read a couple stories or a few if you need. So that was the first book.
I love it. You mentioned the challenges of publishing your first book, which led to you starting your own publishing company called the Cheeky Scribe, which I love the title, by the way.
Title, yeah.
Amazing title.
Yeah.
And so I was wondering, like, what were some of the things that you felt was lacking and missing in your first experience that inspired you to start this publishing company to help other authors?
Well, what happened is I just made so many mistakes with it, internally in the document, and the lady would come back and tell me what I did wrong, and then she charged me extra money, and I'm like, man, we learned from our mistakes, especially expensive ones. And so after enough of that, I just realized I could do this myself, because now I know that thing that she told me, all the things that she told me. And just one thing that sounds kind of silly is that she's like, oh, you don't have to put a price on the back of your book. And now that one has all zeros. And it just, as far as, when you're a new author, you don't really care. You just want to hold that book in your hand. And But to someone who's been in the industry, they're going to turn your book over and they're going to look at it and they're going to judge it. And I want people to flip over a book and say, oh, look at that's the name of the company. This is the price. This is a legit book. My first book was not. And I mean, I don't feel like it was, because it was missing those elements that people look for. Not readers. Readers are like, oh, sweet, a book, and they open it up and they read it. But people in the industry, other publishing companies, agents, things like that, they want to see these certain things that a lot of your first time author grabbing companies, they just don't tell you that it's important. Did that answer your question?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
You talked about your first book, and what I love when you mentioned giving voice to inanimate objects. But I do think as human beings, it's challenging for us to find our voice so we can tell our stories. And so I'm just wondering, number one, how do you stay true to your voice while you are helping other authors find their voice?
That's a great question. Me personally, I've been blogging for over a decade, maybe 15 years, just blogging. And that's, to me, there's no expectations, right? People just want to hear about what was going on in Copper Harbor. It started being about that area. And now it's about Downs by the Bay, like you said, about raising my little guy on the shores of Lake Superior, and our experiences and our lessons and our gifts and the magic that we find. So when I write that way, I just come through as I am. And I'm a really jovial person, I feel like. So a lot of times I'll write, haha, HA, exclamation point. That's one of my, I feel, signature writing things. Some people will do LOL, or some people, so think about if you're posting on social media, right? On your own personal page. What kind of things do you say that makes it feel like it's coming from you? So your friends and family know this is me, it's not AI, or I didn't get hacked. The really genuine things that you do, the way you say someone's name or a nickname, or what you call someone, or what you call yourself. And so when other people are looking for their voice, I just encourage them to listen to how they speak. And you can record yourself and watch yourself speak. I love analyzing mannerisms and just phrases that people often say. Like if I'm ghostwriting for someone and I need to find their authenticity, I always have notes of people's mannerisms, repeated phrases, words they say, and the pace of their speaking, because you want that to come through. So yes, to answer your question, I do my own. I learned it a lot through my blog, and I keep that congruent through my books. To encourage others, I will show them, pay attention to what you say. And then to help write for others, I pay attention to what they say. It's so interesting when you analyze your own speaking and writing to see, wow, how am I really different than other people? What sets me apart? And the more you can grab onto that and really observe it and use it in your own work, just keeps you so authentic.
When you said that, I had two thoughts. One, what is my thing? Right? And I thought about it, and my nieces are the ones who, like, your family will tell you what your thing is that you say all the time, right? So mine was, so here's the thing.
Oh, you do say that a lot.
I've heard that.
And but I also had another one, because if I'm hearing you correctly, and I might be making this up, but whatever that thing is that identifies you, it could be something that could be recognizable, like anywhere you. So if I said, picture this, Sicily.
Golden Girls.
Yes, like iconic line that she always had when she was going to tell a story was, picture
Aw.
this,
Picture
Sicily,
this.
right?
Sicily. 1960. I love that. And what I thought about when you said that, and this is something I never really shared about my company, Organized Chaos. It's multiple meanings. It's the word organized, the words organized chaos is very oxymoronic, and that's on purpose, where you have a challenge, but you can also have a solution at the same time. But also, too, the acronym OK, I spell chaos with a K on purpose because in the South, we always say okay. And okay can mean many different things. We be like, okay, okay, okay. And we say that, I say that all the time. But then also, too, when it comes to your money and your financing, everything is going to be okay. So I built that in because I like with me and my friends, we always say, okay. So when you said that just now, I was like, oh, I guess that's what I did there. I didn't even realize.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's great just to think about, to analyze yourself and analyze others in that way to really break it down, the little foundations that make us who we are. It's cool. And Kyle, to your point, even having my own son have him repeat phrases and I'll be like, "Where'd you hear that?" Oh my God. I say that. Luckily it wasn't a bad word, But but yeah, kids and family, they also tell us what we say. So yeah, for anyone who's looking to find their own voice, talk to their family and friends. Like, what do I say all the time? That'd be a great way to find out.
I love that. I love that. I would like to talk about your podcast,
Mm.
a fresh air inspired life, which I love the title. By the way, it reminds me of my favorite show on NPR called Fresh Air.
Mhm.
And my question is, what inspired you to start this podcast?
Oh yeah. So what was a real catalyst? I'm not sure, but I was working this job and I'm so grateful for the job. It was in the clerk's department of the township, so of Copper Harbor where I worked, and it was all numbers. And I'm not a numbers person, Sapphire. Good for you for being one, but I it stressed me out and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this. And the first thing I did when I quit that job was I started a podcast to because I've been blogging for so long about Copper Harbor where I lived. I started that podcast from the inside of my logo, Copper Harbor Vitality, a fresh air inspired life was always the purpose of my blogs and my videos and all those things. And so I took that tagline, which I already had, and made it the title for a podcast and then subtitled it Copper Harbor from the Inside, showcasing the power of kindness, connection, and community. So all my guests that came on in the first year and a half, we're really from Copper Harbor and the Keweenaw because, like I said, people are always like, how do you live here all year round? We have across the street right now, there is a 20-foot snowbank. Still
Spring.
in spring. There is so much snow here still. And when you're at the end of the road in Copper Harbor, people are like, how do you live here? And so I really wanted to show the grit and just the wholesomeness and the resources and the community necessary to drive life in a place like that. And in talking to a lot of my guests, I realized I was going to run out of people in Copper Harbor. I almost ran out. There's not that many, and not everyone wants to be on a show. Not everyone. Most of them are like, not me. No. And so I'm like, man, I really got to expand. But then being part of Ignite and going to the Speak and Write, where I met so many other people who had passion, purpose, and perseverance, I wanted to kind of scoop all that out and start showcasing people, not just from a tiny geographic area that I was going to run out of material, but just expand it to people all over who use those same values and to make their light shine. And that's where we are now. Now it's the same title, A Fresh Air Inspired Life, showcasing people who move with purpose, passion, and perseverance. And so we're kind of there now, but I love every guest I get to meet and talk to and dig into their life. It's so purposeful to me, and I want to make these things mainstream, like what you guys are doing. You want to really dig inside people and see what they're made of, and put a spotlight on that and say, hey, this person's been through something hard, but look what they're doing with it. Didn't stop them. And that's what I'm doing too. Yeah.
When you talk about just even the people that we met at Speak and Write, it's so easy to get caught up, especially like when you're at the conference. It's so easy to get caught up in the emotion and the high flying charge that goes in there. And then when you talk to someone that seemed like they were just this super happy, jovial person, then you like have them on the podcast and you learn about their lives, you find out how powerful they really are. And their experiences that have shaped them into who they are. And it's like, that's one of the things I appreciate about this podcast, is because there are certain things we would never know about the people in our community if we didn't have them on this platform and actually have a conversation about what they've been through, what they're up to, what gets them going.
Yeah, I firmly believe our stories matter and our stories empower. And like you said, Kyle, when you go to these conferences, sometimes it's on the surface. It's really hard to get into the deeper things. But being able to have these platforms like A Fresh Air Inspired Life and Soul Shift Sessions, we're now able to get into the deep transformative conversations so we can empower others and inspire others to live their best lives. And I really love that passion, purpose, and perseverance, the whole mission and purpose behind your podcast, Amanda. I'm curious to know, all the guests that you've had on this show, what's one lesson that you've learned from doing this podcast? How long have you been doing the podcast?
It's been just over 2 years now.
Wow, congratulations.
okay.
Thank you. And I am so proud to say that I do the first and third Tuesday of each month. And so far, I have put out an episode every first and every third Tuesday.
Nice.
You guys know how hard it is to be consistent, but it is so important.
It is hard.
It is. So that's one thing, I guess. That's one thing I learned. But what's one thing I learned about the guests?
What's one thing that you've learned to take away from the guests that you've had that really like stood out with you, with your guests? Not the one thing, but what's one thing you've learned from your guests through the years?
People, I think they really like to be seen for who they are and without judgment. And that's why, I mean, me personally, I feel like I'm pretty easy to talk to. I love approaching people with non-judgment everywhere I go. And sometimes it's harder than others, but I'm just trying my best because my son has taught me the power of that. But so then getting to talk to these people and really opening them up, a lot of people, especially living at the end of the road, are a little bit afraid of that. And I'm just so proud of my guests who have believed in themselves and opened up to share their stories and really where they came from and where they are now. I think people want to be seen as who they are without having to put on a facade.
I love that. I'm gonna drop some gems on that one.
Ooh.
Sprinkle.
You know, it's
Sprinkle.
interesting how you said that people want to be seen, and it's like it's two sides to that same sword, right? Two edges to that. On one side, I don't want attention called to myself. Like I don't want to be seen in such a way that everybody sees me.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want the people that matter to see me. You know, and that's it's a dance. I feel that a lot of us have to go through. You know, especially the ones that are probably introverted, and I'm both. Right? So I'm like introverted and extroverted to deal with. But there is this, you know, please don't see me in public,
Mm-hmm.
but please see me in private.
I would agree.
Yes, there's a term for that. I think it's ambivert.
That's it.
I learned that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I'm both as well, more introverted than extroverted, believe it or not.
Yeah.
But I like when you said when it matters. And for me, I guess it's hard. How do you determine or decide who matters and who don't matter? But also on the other side of that is, again, just getting back to sharing our stories, because someone out there, because I don't really know. That's why I was like, how do you determine that? I don't really know who this is going to land on and who it's going to inspire and motivate and empower. But the fact that I can share my story to do that then forces me to the forefront to be, like, talk about fully authentic and sharing myself and seeing who I am, because I really want people to see me so they can see themselves actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think surprisingly, a podcast gives someone that chance because, you know, they're being recorded either with or without a microphone. So here you're sitting comfortably with the person who matters to you and you're feeling seen. However, that private conversation is being broadcast.
Yes.
So it takes that and puts it out there for everyone, but it makes you feel like you're safe when you're talking about it.
Yeah.
So it's a cool dynamic.
You're absolutely 100% right. Like I feel safe because I'm with the two of you, right? Even though I know good and well that there are going to be people globally that will have access to this conversation. But in the moment, it's just the three of us.
It is.
It
Yeah.
is.
I have a question for you. Do you listen to your podcast after it's been published?
After it's been published, no, because I listened to it 3 times before it's published.
Okay.
I'm good. Do you listen to it after? Do you think
Let
it
me
changes
tell
how you
you
feel?
how this
No.
goes for. Can I speak for us both, Coach Star?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
Once it is recorded,
Yeah, no. And it's so interesting because I don't know what that dynamic is. I don't know. So maybe someone could put it in the comment section. If we have a psychotherapist or somebody out there who's
what's wrong
said
with my Star and I?
it's like it's something about once the conversation is done, is complete, and because I'm really in it while I'm in it.
Mhm.
I don't know why and I've tried to go back, like when Kyle said it's published, let's go, and I go back. I don't know. I don't know what that is. I'm like, oh, I was there.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I had the
Even-
conversation. I don't go back and listen.
Even the clips. Well, I will say this. I will watch some of the clips that Coach Sapphire Star will post on social media. And I'll say, I don't even remember saying that. But
Oh.
like I don't even remember saying that. But that was good.
Yes.
Yes, and I can speak to that as being, being the host and the person who's managing the technical stuff and conducting the interview and then trying to make sure things are all on track, watching this, watching that. And then when I go through and edit or, just put all my pieces together and compose the whole episode, I hear things I didn't hear before either. And in 100% of the time when I am listening to it in a more relaxed, observer way, I just think, wow, what a great conversation. And while it's great in the moment too, just being able to hear it and hear myself without judgment, I've gotten over the judging, all my and my when I can't think of a word, like screw that. This is being human. We don't know every single word in every single moment. So I'm done judging myself with that. But just going through and listening just so genuinely to the conversation, I do find some value in that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've been a guest on your podcast.
Yes.
And I went back and I listened and I was like, who is that?
She did say that.
It's like, man, that was a great guest. I'm just
You're a
like,
great guest.
She was
I
awesome,
don't
wasn't she? Well,
I
let me ask.
don't remember. It's so wild how that happens. Like I know that's me. I know it's my story, but just listening, I guess like you said, you're a relaxed ear. You're just it was definitely powerful to go back and listen to it. I'm like, wow.
Okay,
Who
now
was that girl?
your podcast is audio only. Is that correct?
Correct.
So,
Yep.
Coach Sapphire, the fact that it was audio, did that make it easier for you to listen to, or pretty much it doesn't matter if it's audio and or video?
For me, it doesn't matter because when I listen to podcasts, whether it's I don't want to say it doesn't matter.
I mean, yourself.
It matters because when I'm listening to a podcast, whether it's audio or audio and visual, most of the time I'm walking and listening to it.
Okay.
But I can appreciate the visual because it creates more of a connection with the person that I'm listening to. So it adds to the juiciness of the podcast.
But I'm talking about you personally, though, like listening to yourself on a audio only versus one that has video. Is one easier for you than the other, or is it both the same?
No, that's what I said.
Okay, I want to just clarify. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the visual to me just elevates the audio, but when I listen to a podcast, most of the time I'm not watching it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
that makes sense. It makes sense.
I'm just listening to it.
I can look at a clip. That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little 30-second, 45-second clip, and after that, I'm done.
Yeah, but I do love like the Breakfast Club. I love how they're a radio show, but I think it just elevated it, took it to another level when they started recording them in the studio conducting the radio show.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also Club Shay Shay, which I'm not sure if that's considered a podcast or not. I think it is.
I think it is.
Yeah, I do enjoy the element of seeing the guest on his show.
What I love about some of these podcasts are the scenery and the way it's set up. Like, first of all, I would love to sit in your living room, Amanda, because it just looks comfortable. Like it looks inviting for a conversation. But if I do go, I'm gonna need a blanket, just like
Yes. And tea.
I need a blanket and some tea, right? You mentioned Club Shay Shay. I love that setup where they're on the couch and they're talking to each other. There are a few like sports inspired ones that I love just the way it looks. Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce, they have one where they are kind of like just sitting in a dark room. They got some nice chairs and they're just sitting there. It almost looks like they're sitting in the living room and having a conversation. Because like the environment to me makes a difference when it comes to the podcast itself. Even here, there are things that I'll do here to make sure that I feel comfortable before having this conversation with the guests or if it's just Sapphire and I. It's just got to feel very comfortable and very welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I love that. Amanda, I wanted to ask you, in your bio, you talked about raising the consciousness of humanity, which I love the word choice, wordplay, by the way. How have you been able to do that? Well, how has the power of storytelling helped you with that mission?
Yeah, great question. So I just remember the moment that happened, I was laying in my bed and it was dark, and I was just begging, why am I here? What? Why am I here? What am I here to do? This was 2017, and I just was trying to figure out my life, like so many of us do at least one time. And it was like the words kind of came through the window and just went through past me, and it just said, you're here to help raise the consciousness of humanity to its highest potential. And I was thinking, wow, that's big. How do I do that?
That's a profound.
That's a broad statement.
Yeah.
There's millions of ways anyone can do that. But knowing that I'm a writer, I decided to start with that. And I had already been blogging and writing books. And so when I write, I just let the consciousness of humanity flow through me. I mean, there's these things called sensitivity readers. Like if you're going to write a book about something, whether it's controversial or not, you might put it past a sensitivity reader and they'll really kind of scrub it for anything that might offend anyone. And my goal, even when I write, is to write in a way that doesn't offend anyone, that it's just so non-polarizing, and it's just always something that someone can relate to, whether they've experienced it or not. And to me, that is kind of the best way to help that mission, to just allow everyone to feel what they're feeling, whether I'm telling a hard story, a difficult time I've been through, or whether I'm sharing, the top of the mountain and here I am and this is what I learned and now this is what I can do with that knowledge. To make stories personal and broad at the same time is really a magical feeling and a magical thing to do. And so I love to let a consciousness more than me help me write. And then I don't have to really worry about offending anyone, if that makes sense. So that's just what I'm doing. And I try to do that with my podcast too, just put things out there honestly and raw, and people can take what they want from them.
Wow. Well said.
Thanks.
That was beautiful.
Oh,
Absolutely. Oh, that was beautiful. I
Thank you.
believe we've come to my favorite round of
Mhm.
our podcast,
Can I ask
the
a question?
Stone Shift Rapid Fire round.
Can I ask a question before we jump into the rapid fire round? And it's fine if you say no, Amanda, but
Okay.
have you noticed this year, has it been a challenge raising the consciousness of humanity in 2025?
No. I think that with so much going on that is already polarizing, that people are able to finally figure out what their priorities are and what means the most to them.
Ooh, okay.
I think there's been so much time that's gone on that we've been able to sit around and be. And now it's a time to figure out the fire in our soul and what we need to do with that if we are going to make a difference.
Yeah.
I think more people are going to see that they need to do this too.
I love that. Fire in the soul.
Fire in your soul. Gee,
Yes.
yeah.
Thank
That
you.
was
I need some sound effects like
or like explosion.
like you need to figure that out in editing, Kyle. That needs to be like a
Oh,
sound effect.
Fire
Emoji.
in the soul.
I'm writing that down.
Aw. And I will say that my son having that extra 21st chromosome and the way he can go around to any person and every person because he is all inclusive and he won't leave anyone out. And go up to everyone. Hi, what's your name? He asks their name. I'm Brayden. He'll either shake their hand, give them a hug, tell them to have a good day. He goes through and he melts an entire room of people. And then they're sad when it's his turn for the doctor's appointment, right? Like, oh, he's done. Oh, there goes that cute little kid. Okay. But he has shown me the absolute power of seeing someone. What is your name? I don't know you. What's your name? And in that moment, I'm always surprised that people just always tell him the truth. They're like, oh, my name's John. Oh, my name's Mary, Sheila. And just to watch a part of their wall kind of melt, some of the layers they put on are melting. And I think that's so important in order to help raise the consciousness of humanity by just looking at people for who they are. And so, Sapphire, when you asked me earlier, how do I do that? Just, I watch my kid. I watch him do this everywhere he goes. And we go a lot of places together. And we get to do this together. And it's the most meaningful.
So he's your wall breaker.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Heart melter. I call him a little heart melter, wall breaker, all those things. And he's shown me how to do it. And at first I was like, okay, you go, dude. That's great. You're awesome. But now,
that's good for you, not for me. That's good for you.
Yeah, but now I want to do it too. Why wouldn't I?
Right.
Why can't I try? I may not be as effective. I'm not this cute little kid with glasses that make my eyes look 2 times the size they really are and all that stuff. But I'm going to try. And he's shown me how just by being yourself.
That's beautiful.
Oh, thanks.
Absolutely. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Rapid fire. We done got the fire in our soul.
Yeah.
Ignited.
Ignited.
Yes. Okay, Amanda, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Yes. What's one small decision you've made that ended up creating a massive shift in your life?
And I'm actually going to change it from what I said last time. And whether this is appropriate or not, it's what it is.
It is what it is.
I decided to quit drinking alcohol in July of 2022. I thought I got my binge drinking under control. And then one day I ended up on my face in the road, bleeding profusely, and people were wondering if I was going to make it. Well, guess what? Here I am. I am here still. And I decided that drinking was not going to help me in anything I did. And so taking that out of my life, I've quit before because I knew I had a problem. When you have a problem and you wonder, do I really have a problem? You might. I'm just saying. But I just decided to take that out of my life. And now, instead of me trying to introduce new spirits into my body, because alcohol is spirits, and my favorite was tequila. That's a strong spirit. Now it's just my spirit that gets to come through me, and I have grown so much. I have become so much more full of vitality and what really matters to me, instead of trying to cover up everything about my life, that any pain, any discomfort, any emptiness, instead of trying to just cover it up, I go into it and I'm like, okay, what do you need to tell me? Let's get through this. And I move through it and we go on. And helping me not cover it up has been pivotal in becoming who I am today.
Wow.
That's wild.
Wow.
That's awesome. Awesome story.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Like
Oh,
that was
you're
that was very powerful. Very
Aw.
powerful. Yes, yes. Thank you. Gosh, it's almost like, well, I don't want to ask them more questions. What's the wildest or most spontaneous thing you've done in the name of personal growth and development?
Wild and spontaneous. Yeah, I would say just joining this motivating the masses tribe and going out to LA for a speak and write conference last June. And man, like I said, 100 year round residents, and I'm going to LA. Oh, did I shake? I shook. I shook the whole time I was there. I could barely eat. I could barely sleep, but I had a great time. And I met some amazing people who are still part of my life, like you guys.
Right.
And I'll never regret it. And I want to do it again.
Absolutely. Sign me up,
Absolutely.
Coach. When are the dates?
Yeah.
Yes.
August 22nd, 23rd,
Is it
24th.
August? Okay.
August.
August.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah,
Yep.
they're not having a June one this year.
Yeah. That's
A
exciting.
young lady that I met in Mexico. Wow. When I joined Speak and Write and joined Motivating the Masses campus with Lisa Nichols, I was living in Mexico. And while there, I had met this young lady and I was so excited about joining Ignite. I was telling everybody that I came across. And this young lady that I met, her name was Jackie. I told her about the program and I wasn't trying to sell the program. I just was just excited about the program. And here we are a year later and she has joined Ignite.
Ignite's a great program. I mean, it's a great program and it creates these connections.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, you could like love Ignite and still have a ridiculous amount of personal connections that are probably for some lifetime connections.
Yes.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
It is.
Mhm.
Absolutely
It
is.
definitely has a high ROI in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Okay, last question. If your mind had a theme song that played every time you had a breakthrough, what would that song be?
A breakthrough. Yeah. Oh, I just usually do this thing where it's like, and it's not too much of a song, but it's just that thing.
I feel like that's the beginning of a lot of songs.
You're right. It is the beginning of a lot of songs. So anything can follow, I guess. You know, like I could go into some beats, or I could go into some more operatic things, or yeah, I think that's the biggest thing that I feel. It's like just this opening, and then what needs to come out.
I love that. I love that, Amanda. What's
Aw.
next for Amanda? Share with the guests, the
Oh.
whole shifters, what's coming up and what's next for Amanda?
Ooh, what's next? So much good stuff. I am going to put out the sequel to my novel this spring. This spring, I'm so excited because so many people are like, when's that next book coming out? When's that next book coming out? And you know you're a good writer when people are like, hey, when's your next book coming out, man? You got another book for me? I'm like, oh man, these people really like my stuff. So I just gotta focus on that and keep doing it. I love it. I love it. I love it so much. Gonna keep going with the podcast. I'd really love to start being a speaker on stages. I'm taking Ignite again, and I have my own personal speaker coach, And yeah, I just love, another way to share that message and get it out there. So I'm just really excited to see what happens with that. What else? There's so much. Life is great, and I'm pouring a lot out of my heart and into my future from the moment. And we'll just see where it all ends up.
How can our guests connect with you to learn more, to stay up to date with what you have going on? Or if they want to, work with you and partner with you for you to help them and guide them to tell their story in writing, how can they do that?
Yeah, I love to help people do that. It's really impassioned for me to be able to help someone else get through what I get through in such a better way. So that's at thecheekyscribe.com is my writing website. Yeah, and if you just want to follow along with my blog, my website, or my blog, my podcast, my books that are coming out, that is copperharborvitality.com. And those websites are interrelated at this point. So yeah, you can just go to either one of those and kind of find everything. I'm getting a website overhaul done right now, so it's all there. It's just we're working on some things. But I encourage anyone who wants to write a book to reach out and even just have a consultation call, and see how we can help at the Cheeky Scribe. And
That is awesome. We are truly inspired and transformed as a result of you blessing us again on the Soul Shift Sessions podcast. If you know anyone that can use a soul shift or would love to be inspired by our beautiful guest, Amanda, please share this podcast. Sharing is caring. Make sure you are subscribed to Soul Shift Sessions right here on YouTube, where we release new podcasts every Wednesday. And again, you can always follow us, connect with us, and join the tribe at www.soulshiftsessions.com. Coach Cal, you're going to bless us with your final word.
It is not what you look at that matters. It is what you see.
good one.
And with that, guys, always remember to let your soul glow. Thank you.
So long,
Thank
everyone.
you.